Yeah.
You see what I mean? And whatnot. So I hear what you're saying, Sister Nadine. I'm leaning as far as I can in your direction. It's just that I can't lean that far.
But it seems to me
I don't
that
trust the profession.
again, the devil's in the details,
Yes.
but I want to reduce to as much as humanly possible the power to make judgments that are not based on with the truth seeking that you and Robbie are always aiming for.
That's
and
why I
embodying.
defended both of those brothers at City College. Let them spread their lies. Black supremacy is a lie. White supremacy is a lie. Join the club of mendacity. It's a huge club, and it comes in a lot of different forms. The male supremacy club is huge in the history of the academy. You arrived at Harvard in when, 68? It's been around since 1636. You see what I mean?
They had overt gender-based discrimination when I went. For every one woman that was admitted, it was an official ratio, 4 to 1. There were 4 men. So you had to be much smarter as a woman to get in.
You might not have had a whole lot of competition with the brothers on the Harvard side, because you got a whole history of white male mediocrity like the Kennedys and others going to Harvard. Now there's some others who are quite powerful, quite superb, but let's just be honest about it. Nepotism, mediocrity is shot through these elite institutions, as well as excellence, as well as courage. It's a human thing.
Do you think that students should not be required to take a course from a Leonard Jeffries or a Jeffrey Levin?
That's a wonderful question right there. That's a wonderful question.
So I was asking Brother West,
What
to
is
me, the
required
harder
course?
question, that I don't think that they should have been fired, the one with, either black or white supremacy views, but should students be excused, if they so choose, from taking their classes?
I would hope it would be elective, but it is crucial in terms of how do you faculty reach agreement in terms of which courses are selective and which courses are not selective. Because in the end, again, I tend to be pretty radically libertarian about this in terms of students being able to critically filter the limitations of their own professors.
I'll just make one brief comment because it has to do with a person in the room who I know. The question of whether somebody with those beliefs, is it really plausible, is it credible, is it believable, that person can separate out his or her beliefs from how he treats a particular student. So I commented in the book that when a white Jewish student walks into an interview or walks into a professor's office hours, he or she starts out with, the professor assumes the person is very smart. And that person has to do something to prove he or she is stupid. Whereas if a minority walks into that professor's office, the assumption is the student is either mediocre or submediocre, and so the student has the burden of now having to prove that he or she is smart. Now, when you have a professor who's starting out boldly, flagrantly, blatantly, saying, I think a certain group of people are intellectually inferior, is it really plausible, in your view, is it really plausible that he's going to treat her or him like he would, say, treat a white Asian or white Jewish student? Is that believable? I don't think it's believable.
I mean, I don't either, so that's why I raised the question.
No, it's true.
And I think, it's interesting that in that sense, I think we've learned a lot in the couple of decades since those cases from the 1990s. I don't think they would come out the same way today.
Okay.
But I think a lot of it also has to do with experience. You see, once the very ugly Jewish quotas were shattered, and the cultural Jewish love of language and literacy and learning has been going on for 2,500 years, was able to manifest itself in American culture and the American academy, you were going to have a disproportionate number of Jewish brothers and sisters who end up going to a lot of these schools that are elite institutions. That's just a fact. That's an experience. See, when I showed up from California, chocolate side of Sacramento at Harvard, and I had hardly met a Jewish brother and sister. And I look around and see all these Jewish brothers and say, good God Almighty, what's happening here at Harvard? This is a fascinating experience. Then I showed up with all left-wing groups, disproportionately Jewish. Interesting.